Hey everybody, I wanted to do a really hopefully thorough video walking you through how to make use of our classroom because that's what Brightspace is for us. We are an asynchronous online only class. There will be no class meetings. There will be no uh, times when you have to sign in to a video call or anything like that. It's all online and it's all going to be, uh, whenever you want to view the weekly videos and do the work. However, you do need to understand that the work has to be done within each week. So the week runs from from Monday to Sunday. So, the week begins at, midnight, Sunday night, first thing Monday morning, and then it runs through the following week. So, for week one, you want to get all your work done before the end of that week. But we'll talk about that some more, when we get to the calendar portion of the video. Let's begin with our course homepage. There's going to be announcements from me. I am very bad about doing this on a regular basis. I'm going to do my level best to send you an announcement every week that says, okay, I've posted the video, we're moving on in the class to week 2 or whatever. If there are especially important things, I will definitely put it into an announcement. So, let's start with our syllabus. Now, I have this set up as I am a learner, meaning that I am seeing what you hopefully should see. Okay, here is our syllabus. And much of it is auto entered by the school. So there's only a few places where there is information that's specific to my class. But we're going to go through all of the areas of the syllabus. I do not have an office on campus. And really, I guess that doesn't totally matter since we're an online class and we would probably, should you need to meet with me, we can certainly do it online. And, I am in Charlotte teaching at some other schools on Mondays and Wednesdays. So if you were to need to talk to me face to face, we could work something out. It might take a little bit of planning, but we could do it. So the best way to reach me is my email. So you can see my email address is going to be all over our website. But the top of the syllabus is one place where you can find it. Always contact me first if you have a problem. If you're not getting a response from me within a reasonable amount of time, which, 20 minutes is not enough time. You need to give me at least 24 hours. Then you would want to step things up. And in that case, you would go to the department chair or the associate dean. This is the course information about the prerequisites and the course hours. And honestly, I'm not sure what they've done here. This doesn't look right, but this is what populated in the syllabus. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. But yeah, that's okay. Moving right along. Here's our course description and outcomes. We want you to learn how to write well. This is a writing intensive class. This is a writing class, so you shouldn't be surprised that it is indeed writing intensive. This course is designed to develop the ability to produce clear writing in a variety of genres and formats using a recursive process. And by recursive, we mean something very specific. When we're talking about writing being recursive, we mean that we don't move through the writing process from A to B to C. We begin with A, and then we might move to B and move on to C, but then realize that we need to back up and rethink A, which is then going to lead us to maybe rethink B. And so it's not a linear thing. It's kind of, as Doctor Who said, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. It kind of can go all over the place. Emphasis includes inquiry, analysis, effective use of rhetorical strategies, thesis development, audience awareness, and revision. I love all of these things. These things are like my children, and I think they are all equally cool. They all make me want to jump up and down and yell with joy because I love writing so much. And I'm really not kidding. I'm kind of a goof like that. Upon completion, students should be able to produce unified, coherent, well-developed essays using standard written English. This is what we want for you to be able to do when you get done. And this class can help you do well in other classes. It's going to help you think about how you prepare for other classes, how you do your homework, how you read, that sort of thing. Let's see, we have a textbook, which you have already paid for, and it's digital. If you want to get a hard copy of the book, you may do so. Contact the bookstore. But the textbook is paid for already and accessible through Brightspace, and I'll walk you through how to do that. Our course dates. We have a census date of March the 23rd, meaning that if you do not do the EVA, if you don't do the quiz that says you're in the class, by that date, I have to mark you as never attended. So for the love of all that's holy, pause this video and go take that quiz. Or if you don't know what I'm talking about, we will move through the quiz itself and you'll see what I'm talking about. But taking that quiz is super, super important. Your last day to withdraw. If you reach a point where you don't feel like you can listen to my voice on these videos for one more second, if you feel like something has happened and you're not going to be able to finish the class with a grade that you want, the last day you have to withdraw and take some kind of action to avoid an F is that day. So if you feel like things might be running off the rails, get in touch with me as soon as humanly possible. If it is April 7th, there's not going to be much that I can do. I have to plan something for our final scheduled class meeting, but since we have 0 class meetings, this section does not apply. These are our learning outcomes. I'm not going to read these to you because you're a grown-up and you can read them, but these are the things that we anticipate you should be able to do when you get through the class. Here is the basic needs statement, which it makes me very sad that we have situations that require this, but it makes me incredibly happy and incredibly proud to work for Central Piedmont because they have such a great support service to help students who might be having issues. I've had students come to me and say, I have to drop the class because I'm about to be homeless, or I have to drop the class because I have to work more hours, or I don't have daycare, or whatever. We can work on that. Central Piedmont does not want that to be a problem for you. We don't want students to face challenges relating to food, housing, or basic needs. And honestly, I don't feel like anybody should have to face any challenges related to basic needs such as this. But that's neither here nor there. My point is that this school has people who are being hired and employed to help you if you have problems, challenges securing food, housing, or any other basic needs. The Wellness Center is where you would go to get help with this. And it's not just yoga, it's not just working out. The Wellness Center is really cool, but the Wellness Center offers quite a lot more than just, a treadmill and some yoga classes. They offer stress management, wellness programming, counseling services, emergency grants. Let me say that for you again. Student emergency grants. Are you experiencing sudden, unexpected, or unforeseen occurrences that require immediate attention and threaten your ability to stay enrolled? If that's the case, you could get help in the form of a grant, which is not, I'll say this again, not a loan. It's the school wanting you to stay in school, which I think is really neat. So if you run afoul of any issues, please do remember that this place exists, because they also have housing resources, food referrals, a professional clothing closet. Are you going on an interview and you don't have good clothes, or you don't have good shoes, or you need a tie, or you don't own a dress, or what have you? Look, you can go and get some professional clothing. I think this is just amazing and incredible. We also have healthcare. There's a dental clinic. You can get x-rays and you can get cleanings of your teeth for $35. Now, let me tell you, in case you're not aware of this, the last time I got my teeth cleaned, I maxed out my credit card. It was, granted, it was a very low limit credit card, but it was like $400 to get my teeth cleaned. So $35 versus $400, I'm going to go to the dental clinic. Thank you very much. There's also an eye clinic. So please do remember that this is there. They are incredibly helpful folks that work in these places. Let's see, General Education Foundation. I'll let you read that part yourself. This right here relates to what we're doing in the class and why. We will write 3 workshopped formal academic essays, a compare and contrast, which is worth 20%, cause and effect, which is worth 20%, and the final essay, which is worth a whopping 25%. So you can see that the biggest part of your grade is going to come from the writing that you do in final draft form. You'll need to participate in class. That's worth 15%. And then the rest of the points are spread out through rough drafts, quizzes, homework, classwork, etc. So these are the things that I'm going to use to assign your grade, which here is the grading scale. You are on a 10-point grading scale at Central Piedmont, which just makes life much easier for everybody because, math is hard. Here is the grade appeal information. If by some chance I make a mistake and you are not getting the information from me that you need, if I don't know, if an instructor does not correct a mistake that they made, this is how you appeal your grade. Now, remember that you have to do this by a certain date. You can't wait for like 2 years and then appeal your grade. You have to follow the rules that the school has set up for you to do this, and those are found here. Now, this part is really important. This is one of those pieces that I wrote and that's specific to my class. So you might not run across this in somebody else's class, but you will definitely, if you take a 112 with me or any of the other writing classes that I might teach at Central Piedmont, this is my makeup work and missing assignment policy. I understand that life happens and sometimes we can't get our work done on time. Events that fall into this category are things like I forgot, or my computer crashed, my internet was out, or life has been busy, crazy, they scheduled me to work more, etc. Um, yes, life happens. However, you know, just because those things happen does not mean that your grade should necessarily suffer. You can always submit work late. You do not have to request to submit work late. Please consider this a blanket allowance of late work. Emails asking permission to submit late work will refer you back to this portion of the syllabus. You may choose to submit your work late. However, as with every choice in life, there are repercussions. I will accept late work of the major essays, but with some caveats. And these are the caveats. And basically, this boils down to every day that the calendar day that the work is late, the grade drops by 5 points. So if you submit a major essay 2 days late, you can no longer receive an A. After 5 days, the work is no longer acceptable and will receive a 0. After this time frame has passed, the assignment area closes. So if you go to look and submit something and the assignment area has closed, that means that it's no longer available to you because you've missed your submission window. Like I said, this is a short semester class. We don't have time for late work. At least not late work that's that late. If it's a day late, if it's 2 days late, 3 days late, okay. But once we pass 5 days, we've moved past acceptable. Low stakes, no grade work is not eligible for this submission policy. So if I give you an assignment that's worth 5 points, it's, you can't really turn that in late. It's 5 points. The point of low stakes assignments is to give you the opportunity to practice some of the things that we've talked about without having to sweat the grade. Late work does not get the same priority in terms of grading as current work, which, if you think about it, makes sense. I need to keep up with what the rest of the class is doing. So I can't put your work that's late in front of the work that's on time. So if you submit something late, I will grade it as soon as I can. Let's see. Obviously, if you have a life-altering event, God forbid, that is out of your control, like the death of an immediate family member, you get COVID, you're in a car accident, you're hospitalized, whatever, this doesn't apply. Obviously, we can work together to make sure that your work gets turned in, and you get credit for it. I'm not an absolute jerk. At least I hope not. And so if you have a problem like that, let me know and we will work together to come up with a schedule that works. If your work is submitted in a file format that Brightspace cannot understand, for example, pages, as you can see, I am a Macintosh person myself, but if you submit something in Pages, Brightspace has no idea what's going on. So you want to make sure that you can go back to your assignment and actually see it. So if you submit something in Pages or in some other format that Brightspace just can't deal with, I will let that slide the first time. But the second time and any following times, it's going to be considered late and you will lose points. So, okay, one time, but not repeatedly. If the work is not accessible through Brightspace for grading purposes, I will assign it a grade of 1. You will be able to see that it has received a grade of 1, and there will be a comment that says, here's why your grade is 1. And I will say, Brightspace can't read this. Please submit this in an acceptable file format, like in Word or in PDF. Those kinds of formats are fine. If you submit a link to a Google Doc, that's not going to work either. So make sure that it's something that Brightspace can fully understand and deliver to me, as well as make available to you to see. I will put a comment on the rubric, and I will also send you an email that says, did you know that you submitted this in a way that Brightspace can't understand? And you can then resubmit. But if, like I said, if you do this multiple times, it's going to be late. Please don't send me your essay in an email unless I specifically ask that you do so. If you find that you aren't sure if your submission was completed and are tempted to send me an email attaching the essay just in case, please rethink this approach. I think Brightspace actually sends an email that says, congratulations, and shoots off a whole lot of fireworks or something when you submit something. So, if you submit work and aren't sure that it's actually submitted, then you need to go look for that email. If you need for me to check and make sure that it's submitted correctly, I will do that. You just need to ask me. Okay, here is some information about attendance. We are, like I said, an online class. We do not meet. We do not have synchronous meetings online. You do this work solely on your own time when you want to do it, so long as it falls within the due date. Let's see, our census date is 3/23, and so if you have not taken the EVA before that date, I will mark you as never attended, and the financial aid office, if you are, getting financial aid, the financial aid office will want to talk to you. Let's see. Stopped attending. If you just kind of fall off the face of the earth for a little while, you can be considered no longer attending. And for us, an 8-week class, that's 1 week. So for us, you want to make sure that even if you know you're not going to be able to do all the assignments for that week, at the bare minimum, go in there and take a stab at the attendance quiz or the attendance discussion or whatever it is that I've created for that week. If you have been marked stopped attending, you can no longer be in the course. So you won't get a grade, and you can't continue to stay in the class. Stopped attending students may earn a failing grade for the class. Stopped attending is final unless the student can provide documentation of extenuating circumstances. You can avoid all that if you just, do the bare minimum. Let's see. You can read this yourself. I will leave that for you to review. Student code of conduct. Please be awesome to each other and yourself. Try not to, treat other people badly. Do not use the words of other people without giving them credit, without telling where you got your idea. Don't use AI. So that kind of sums up the code of conduct as far as I'm concerned. The academic integrity and plagiarism, we use Turnitin, and while Turnitin has its problems, I am the final arbiter of, whether or not something is acceptable for class. So if Turnitin flags your paper as being 15% plagiarized, please don't have a heart attack. It has probably gone in and looked at your works cited page, because it will definitely flag the works cited page, which, if you think about it, makes sense. It also will flag individual words and that kind of thing. There's only so much that this software can do, and it is not the best that's out there. I really hope that we move on to something other than that. But that's what the school uses, and so that's what I have to use. It also looks at your paper and assigns it a percentage grade for AI use. And we will talk about what to do when you are accused of not having written your paper yourself, but instead you used AI. And please note that I said when, because even if it's not this class, you will get it in another class. At some point, you will be accused of using AI. That's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. And one of the things that I hope you take from this class is how you can avoid having that happen to you. How you can respond in such a way that the instructor says, "Oh, okay, gotcha, you're good," and then nothing else is done. And there are things that you can do basically as CYA, and we'll talk about those. Non-discrimination, that's very important to know. Disability and access services, definitely email those folks or visit with them if you have need for accommodations. The last date to withdraw is 4/6. You should always put dates like that in your calendar. If you realize that you just can't manage this class, you can't listen to my voice, you can't stand to look at Brightspace another second, you need to make sure that you withdraw yourself from the class prior to that date. Let's see. Each week you will have a brief quiz or discussion that is marked attendance week number. And I'll use this to take attendance. And I will put a due date on it that falls within that week. If you miss that due date, then you have missed attendance for that week. You can't make it up. You can't do it late. That's one of those assignments that just does not fall into that late work is always okay kind of thing. Okay, that was my discussion of the syllabus. And when you have read the syllabus, click that little button at the bottom of the screen that says, yes, I've read it. I am going to end this video now since it deals solely with the syllabus, and then I am going to move on to the next video, which is going to walk you through how to basically navigate Brightspace.